After finishing my hot pot, I searched everywhere for a server to settle the bill. Instead, diners kept calling me server. I denied it, so they switched to boss lady. Just then the owner walked in, cigarette between his lips, and laughed playfully. Don't, I'm not worthy. The customers took it as banter, only I drowned in awkwardness. What had I said back when he'd begged me, crying, not to break up? Oh, right. You'll never be more than a lousy cook. How could you ever deserve me? Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. 01. After eating hot pot alone, I hunted for a server to pay. Passing tables kept mistaking me for staff. I glanced down at my new outfit, an embroidered white blouse and black fishtail skirt, gave a helpless smile, shook my head, and said, I'm not. Everyone promptly switched to boss lady. My cheeks burned. I waved both hands in frantic denial. Right then the owner strolled back in, cigarette dangling, swept me with an icy glance, and smirked. Don't, I'm not worthy. The whole room laughed it off. The boss is roguish hot, the pretty's an angel, perfect match. Only I unconsciously stepped back, cheeks flaming. The owner was him, River, my ex. When he'd had a fever and red-rimmed eyes and begged me not to leave, what had I told him? Oh, yeah. You'll top out as some broke cook. How could you ever deserve me? Turns out he owns this chain, dozens of locations nationwide, all packed, his net worth easily in the tens of millions. I mocked myself, classic case of yesterday you brushed me off, today you can't afford me. At the counter a girl returned from the kitchen. Pretty, our new branch is having a grand opening raffle. Post about us on social media and you could win up to 60% off. Mortgage due, studio just renovated, my savings were bleeding. I gripped my phone, about to nod. River lifted his eyelids, voice flat, spare the classy heiress your tacky discount circus, don't waste her precious time. The girl shot him a lethal glare. River, if you can't talk like a human, zip it. I swallowed the ache, tapped my screen a few times, and held it up for her. Does this count for the raffle? A flicker of surprise crossed River's eyes. Once upon a time I'd worked every spare college hour to cover tuition and rent. After graduation the landlord hiked the price. One midnight he tossed me and my luggage to the curb. When I got sick I dared not see a doctor, afraid of the bill, treating myself with hot water and cheap pills. Week-old plain noodles were my 3 a day because I couldn't even spring for instant ramen. After that, dignity felt like a luxury, cash ruled. 02. The girl's eyes curved into happy crescents, bright, clean, the type River would fall for. All set. Pop your hand into the box. She unfurled the slip and squealed, first prize, 60% off. So lucky, I smiled, delighted by the windfall. Pretty, how about I comp your whole bill? Just give me your WhatsApp. I froze, baffled. Your studio's like 30 meters across the street. I've watched you dance through the glass, absolute fairy vibes. Come on, pretty, let's be friends. Sweet girl Egio always disarms me. Okay, but the discount's plenty. Her handle was adorable, Casey, good luck charm. So her name's Daisy. I paid and stepped outside. Behind me her laugh scolded River. My stride faltered. I almost looked back, then didn't. Afraid my eyes might redden. Afraid I'd imagine, if that past night hadn't happened, could the girl inside be me? Even scraping by together in some tiny diner would feel warm, happy. Today is actually my birthday. New clothes and hot pot were my tiny splurge to celebrate. I'd never had a birthday until 20, when River gave me one. That sweet cake? He'd pestered a pastry major senior, practice night and day. He taught me, even alone, mark the day, love yourself. He promised he'd bake me a cake every year. Mom cut off tuition and allowance once college started. I juggled jobs, speed walking everywhere, crowned the campus. River, orphaned, raised his high school sister, just as broke, another campus. We kept landing at the same gigs, slowly we clicked, then together. Hectic days, but the memories still sugarcoat my heart. The Ice Queen dance diva's dating some community college future cook. You're joking, he a low-key rich? Nah, orphan with a kid sis. With that face she could bag any guy, why settle for a diploma guy? No kidding, maybe she worships legendary martyr love, haha. I heard it all and didn't care. I naively thought indifference would armor us against the world. 03. Later, we broke up. Every year since I've obeyed him, celebrated, loved myself. But I've never once bought a birthday cake. Serena. That low, lazy voice, unmistakably River. I turned, pulse jumping, palms damp. Why, yes. His ink-dark eyes were fathomless. Why so nervous? I stammered, not at all. Your keys. I snatched them, throat stinging with thanks, ready to bolt. Wait. He stopped the coward in me again. I frowned, irritation flaring. Why couldn't he finish a thought at once? Happy birthday. That quiet wish hit me square, my nose stung. I dipped my head, fled without a word. Anything would have cracked my voice. Under the street lamp by my building I collapsed, squatting, muffling sobs, face soaked. 04. That evening the elevator died. Hugging a crate of fruit, I trudged up the stairwell. Heavy box, slow climb. I'd barely reached the 4th floor when familiar chatter floated up behind me. Hey, Serena, you live here too? I was still holding the box when the elevator doors slid open. It was Daisy and River. River pinched the cigarette out with one hand, walked over without a word, and stretched out his arm. Let me take that. I started to refuse. Oh, come on, Serena, let him carry it, Daisy chirped. Flustered, I gave in. All right. Jordan, you. When I passed the box over, a blind spot in my line of sight made my knuckles brush his warm fingers, the spot of skin burned. It turned out Daisy was studying at the university nearby. They had just moved into the riverfront lofts, and the new redriver branch was only a few blocks away. They lived directly below me, 8th floor mine, 7th floor theirs. So they were already living together, which confirmed they were a couple. That bright, obvious fact shattered every foolish hope I'd still been sheltering. At last we reached my door. Daisy wandered around admiring everything. Serena, your place is gorgeous, exactly the home I daydream about. Are you renting or did you buy? I bought it. Still paying the mortgage every month. If you like it, drop by whenever. Surprise flickered across River's eyes. Buying the loft had actually stretched me thin. After the monthly mortgage I had to pinch pennies. Still, I'd signed. My assistant at the time hadn't understood and asked why. Because I don't want to panic every time the landlord hikes the rent, and I hate moving all the time. She'd nodded slowly. Makes sense. I hadn't explained further, only smiled faintly. The truth was probably simpler. I'd never had a home, so I wanted to give one to myself. If no family would provide it, a set of keys and a deed would have to stand in. 05. I stood at the fridge, about to ask Daisy whether she wanted juice or yogurt. Her WhatsApp name read, Casey, may luck strike. I already liked her, so I simply called her Daisy. Daisy. Before I could finish, 3 answers came at once. Smart speaker, I'm here. Daisy, Serena? And River, instinctively, softly, yeah? He lifted his gaze, complicated. My hand holding the juice froze. I stood rooted. Only then did I remember, back in college we'd been glued at the hip, and I used to call him River in that playful way. I'd stand on the library steps, hands cupped like a megaphone, eyes curved in a grin. River, River. Sunlight scattered across the boy's eyes. Whenever he looked at the girl, those deep pupils carried a smile, mischievous, impossible not to blush for. I'm here. Always have been. Boy and girl smiled at each other, bright as noon. Daisy blinked, puzzled, turning to River. Just now, did you? You misheard. His face was so solemn that Daisy doubted herself. Oh, okay, maybe I did. 06. One evening, right after I'd waved off the last student, my phone rang, Mom. She was shrieking, frantic, little Tang, come quickly. Please, I'm begging you, box 207 at Summer Bar. Don't come closer. Ah. Her terrified scream set my heart racing. I grabbed a jacket and sprinted over. Inside the booth, lights flashed purple and green, men and women sprawled across sofas, no sign of Mom. Realizing something was off, I tried to step back, but the door had already clicked shut. A heavily made-up woman dug her nails into my arm and dragged me to an older man. I'd rushed over straight from class, still in my Latin practice skirt. His lecherous gaze crawled up my legs inch by inch. Look at this knockout, your mom says you were the dance department queen. No wonder these legs are works of art, haha. My heart sank, nausea surged. I dug my nails into my palms, forcing myself to stay calm. I forced a smile, playing along. Mom briefed me on the way. I know the drill, don't worry. The fat man grinned, blew a smoke ring in my face. Like mother, like daughter. Since she's trained you, I can relax. Keep me happy and you'll live better than she ever did. Bile rose to my throat. My face was bloodless, but I kept the coy act. Sam, I need the restroom, for a little, special preparation, okay? He sent the woman to tail me. I had to think inside the bathroom. The call connected, I spoke coldly. Where are you? What game is this? So you've met Sam. Entertain him and maybe he'll marry you as his trophy. 2 years without contact, it's time you wised up. Ugh, you jinx, I just lost at Mahjong. Done. Before I could beg her, just a scrap of motherly mercy, she'd hung up. My heart felt like it had been dropped into an ice lake. 07. Outside the restroom the woman barked, Hey, you done? I'm coming in to drag you out. I scanned the tiny space, no exit except a window too small. I'd have to gamble on the front. Coming! She was squinting, cigarette dangling. I lowered my head, trying to slip past. I'd barely taken 2 steps when she spotted me. Panic jolted me into a run, but she seized my hair, yanked me back, and tore my neckline down my shoulder. While I scrambled to cover myself, she shoved me to the floor. The noise brought Sam waddling over. Shame crashed over me. I squeezed my eyes shut, wild last resort plans flashing through my skull. Suddenly a low, furious voice cut through the noise. What the hell do you think you're doing? It was River. He strode in, draped a coat, his, smelling faintly of tobacco, over me, then gently pulled me to my feet. Well, if it isn't Boss Vance. You want the girl too? Fine, she's yours. River glanced at Sam, eyes black with rage. He'd seen me at my ugliest, most helpless moment. Turned out the bar was his. I opened the passenger door. River said, flat, back seat. I paused, softly closed the door, and climbed in behind. A dull ache spread through my chest. Of course, passenger side is for the person you're intimate with. He drove me home in silence, rode the elevator up, and waited while I fumbled with my keys. I turned, about to invite him in, but he was already stepping back into the lift. The doors slid shut, he frowned, lit a cigarette. Catching my gaze, he lifted his eyes once, cool and distant. The doors closed, cutting the line of sight clean. 08. After that night, whenever Daisy had no classes she'd show up at the studio to chat or watch me teach. I suspected River had asked her to keep me company. One afternoon we were shopping. On the way back Daisy called River for a ride. I automatically took the back seat, only for Daisy to climb in beside me. I stared. Serena, what's wrong? I snapped out of it and smiled. Nothing, just zoned out for a second. He dropped us off, then headed back to the restaurant. Rumor was he had interviews for a new manager that evening. Daisy and I were in the living room, sipping hard seltzer and chatting while the alcohol hummed lightly in our heads. Serena, I'll be honest, she said, when I asked for your WhatsApp, one reason was that I wanted to hang out with a pretty girl, but I also wanted to set you up with my brother. I stared at her, stunned. Your brother? 09, yeah, my brother. We each took one parent's last name. No way, Serena. You didn't think we were a couple, did you? Ha ha ha. I gave an embarrassed nod, and Daisy laughed even louder. When I was in kindergarten, Mom died in an accident. Dad and my brother had come to pick me up, and on the way home we crashed. Dad and River were hurt, but Mom, in the passenger seat, she left us forever. A statistic I'd once read suddenly flashed through my mind: front seat passengers have the highest fatality rate in collisions. No wonder River wouldn't let me ride shotgun that day. Later, when I was in middle school, Dad's company was driven into bankruptcy by a man named Leonard who used dirty tactics to undercut him. Dad had a heart attack and died. My eyelid twitched. The man my mother had remarried was also named Leonard. Every instinct told me it was the same person. Then, the winter break of my freshman year, I came home and my brother told me, eyes sparkling, that he was in love. She was beautiful, amazing. It was the first time since our parents died that I saw tiny lights in his eyes again, hope for the future instead of numbness. But not long after, that girl dumped him hard, disgusted by our family's circumstances. I lowered my head and tugged at my lips. He must hate her, then. No. Daisy wobbled her dizzy head and mumbled on. I asked him the same thing. He shook his head, without hesitation. I couldn't understand. He gave a bitter laugh and said, I wasn't good enough, why blame her? I only hate myself for not being able to give her a better life. For that girl he quit smoking, stopped drinking. After the breakup he smoked twice as much. Once I got out of the hospital, he drank without restraint until he bled from his stomach. Each word felt like a blunt knife slowly sawing at my heart. Sorry, Daisy, I need the bathroom. I clamped a hand over my mouth and stumbled down the hallway. I splashed my face again, and each time my eyes came up redder from crying. 10. That blazing afternoon 2 years ago, the big boy who'd received a breakup text rushed to me with bloodshot eyes, frantic, like a child who'd done something wrong. But he had never been the one at fault. Recently he'd practically lived at the hospital, eyes shot from all-night vigils. His little sister was sick. The surgery would cost a terrifying sum. His voice shook. Serena, my dad left me an ancestral hotpot base recipe. Wait, once I graduate I'll open a chain, tons of stores, real money. If it comes to it, someone wants to buy the formula, and they're offering big money, I'll sell. The moment I heard formula, my heart lurched. I forced myself calm. I had to make him give up completely, or who knew what this love-drunk fool would do. Knowing my mother, she would probably use it to blackmail River next. Enough, River. I flung away the hand he reached toward me. My mom just remarried some rich guy. I'm rich now. Am I supposed to waste my youth waiting for the pies you keep drawing in the sky? Why don't I just go find some trust fund prince? Stop wasting your breath. Selling some recipe, how much could it even be worth? Probably not as much as a single lunch for those rich guys. Right after I cruelly broke up with him, my mother showed up, the first time she'd come to see me since marrying money. You stubborn little brat, can't you understand plain English? I told you to coax that formula out of him. What the hell did you just do? I won't do it. Dream on, she sneered. Fine, be noble forever. Don't call me again. No matter how rich I become, you'll get nothing. 11. Suddenly remembering something, I clenched my fists and spoke through gritted teeth. Wait, lend me 500 grand. I'll pay you back, I swear. Or, you don't want me showing up at your mansion every day making a scene and letting all those trophy wives laugh at you, do you? My mother's face twisted. Serena, how did I raise such an ungrateful? In truth, I only needed 300,000, the cost of River's sister's operation. But I knew her. Every time she gave me money she discounted it. She flung a bank card, it hit my face. Only 300 grand. Not a penny more, and don't bother paying it back. Think of it as the price for severing our mother-daughter relationship. I squatted, picked up the card. The amount wasn't even as much as the shoes on her feet right then. I stayed in the bathroom a long time before I calmed down. When I came out, Daisy was asleep on the couch. I tucked a blanket around her and stood looking at her peaceful face. So she was the little sister who'd needed that operation. Good, she was safe and healthy now. 12. That day, I'd just returned from the studio when Mom waylaid me outside the Riverfront lofts, exactly like the day she confronted me for defying her and breaking up with River. Wipe that holier-than-thou look off your face. Who do you think you're showing it to? Luxury tailoring couldn't hide the vulgar cruelty in her bones. She gave a cold laugh. Serena, all those years I poured money into your dance lessons, did you think it was for your own good? It was so you'd grow up with more capital, so I could sell you for a better price. But fate smiled on me. I found myself a rich husband. 2 years ago I told you, sweet talk that broke, trick him out of his formula, and your Uncle Leonard would keep you in clover for life as a pampered heiress. You little wretch did the opposite, you ran to dump the poor guy. Do you realize you almost cost me my ticket into high society? I let out a low laugh. A rich heiress? So I can end up like you, wagging my tail for some old millionaire? She slapped me hard. I could have dodged, but I didn't. This was the last time. And later I found out you took the $300,000 you begged from me, after disowning yourself, and gave it to River's little sister for her surgery, right? Humph, he's rich now, hasn't come to repay your kindness, has he? Leonard gave a lofty sniff, climbed into her chauffeured luxury car, and left. Tears slid down, stinging. I touched my cheek. Ah, her long, exquisite fake nail had scratched it open. I smiled faintly, probably at myself. No wonder she'd suddenly agreed to let me take dance lessons back then. Every afternoon after elementary school, while I waited for her to show up late, I'd press my face to the glass of the studio, watching other little girls whirl and leap. Even after I got home and finished homework, I'd remember the steps and try them on my own. Whenever she saw, she'd snap. What are you staring at? I don't have spare cash for useless stuff like that. Then one day a staff member said, she takes after you, such a pretty face. Add some dance training and boys will be chasing her everywhere when she grows up. After that she changed, spending on my lessons year after year without batting an eye, the first time she'd ever opened her wallet wide for me. Back when I needed money for textbooks she'd grumble for ages about what a burden I was. Tears streamed down the fresh cuts, and I scrubbed my cheeks like I couldn't feel the sting, fingertips blooming scarlet. I staggered around, vision blurred, and through the haze I saw River watching me with a storm of emotions, the rims of his eyes red. In the living room I curled myself into the sofa. My phone rang. It took me a second to react, fumbling to answer. Boss, you didn't come this afternoon. Tons of parents showed up with kids to register, all asking for Serena. Before the studio assistant could finish, I cut in, voice cracking, half scream, half sob. Send them away. No more classes, I'm done, I'll never dance again. Please, just make them all leave, woo-woo. Boss, what happened? You're scaring me. Realizing I'd lost control, I bit my lip hard, but the tears kept betraying me. I swallowed a knot of glass. And nothing. I'll hang up. Sorry. The call ended, a cool, faintly tobacco-scented shadow leaned over me. River, gentle but unyielding, steered clear of my cuts, pinched my cheeks, stopping me from shredding my lip again. He took supplies from the first aid box and dressed the wound. Tell me if it hurts. Hurt? He's never let me hurt. I kept my eyes shut, tears still sneaking out. When the cut was patched, he wiped each finger with a moist towel. After a while warm, slender knuckles brushed my lips. I opened my eyes, bewildered, staring into his turbulent gaze. If the pain moves up here, bite me. If you want to cry, scream, just don't destroy yourself. My emotions had mostly settled, so I shook my head lightly. He held my chin, deadly serious. Serena, listen. You don't dance for anyone, don't have to please anyone, just please yourself. If you don't want to dance, let somebody else teach, you stay boss lady and collect the money. And if you honestly don't want the studio either, then walk, dozens of hotpot branches can make you boss lady. The last line made my eyes fly wide, heart racing. When I stayed silent too long, a flicker of loss crossed his face. "I'll get you water." I grabbed his hand. "Wait, let me think, okay?" Clouds lifted from his face like a kid handed candy. For a second I saw the teenage River again, eyes sparkling as he said, "River's always here." 14. After that day he showed up every evening to cook, afraid bad moods would steal my appetite. Daisy had experiments and stayed away. I glanced at the clock, he'd arrive soon, and smiled expectantly. Still, every coming entrance quickened my pulse. I remembered the first time he cooked for me. He'd made my favorite boiled fish, but 2 years had sanded my tolerance for spice. One bite scorched my throat. I bent over, coughing into my palm. Panicked, he thrust his glass of juice at me and patted my back. In his rush he'd handed me the cup he'd already used. Only after I drank did we realize, our eyes locked. My ears burned, he cleared his throat, embarrassed. "Stop, no more memories." I opened my phone for a distraction. A headline banner popped up. I tapped it by mistake. About to close, one line snagged me. September 28th, Leonard's longtime ally Sam turned in by anonymous whistleblower for tax fraud, corporate crimes, taken into custody. September 28th, the day after Mom lured me to that bar. 15. I slid my finger upward and read from the top. Police had just arrested Leonard at the airport, total tax evasion, $2 billion, his food plans failed safety standards. Mid-article, a lightly pixelated video showed two familiar figures. Leonard had secretly reassigned the corporate legal person to my mother, both were dragged off together. Investigators also found Mom brokered special arrangements between women and rich men. On screen the two snarled, flinging blame like mud. The scene was ugly chaos. I coldly blackened the screen, thoughts swirling. The doorbell rang. I opened it, River. The gloom in my chest lifted like fog in sunlight. He headed straight to the kitchen, took out ingredients I'd prepped, started cooking. I hovered at the doorway, debating. Soon I'd tell him my decision. I had to ask now. "Their company sealed, bankrupt. Was that your doing?" He paused, turned, eyes steady. "I only did what any citizen should, report crooks, keep society clean." He added quietly, "Back then Leonard and Sam framed my dad's firm, forced it under, Dad's heart gave out." I stepped in and slipped my arms around his aproned waist. He stiffened, cheek to his back. I felt his heartbeat pick up, steady, comforting. 16. Dinner done, time for business. I took River's long hand and led him to the sofa. "About what you said that night, one good news, one bad." Which first?" He hesitated. "Good news." "Good, I'm keeping the studio open. I'll prove I'm not her, won't become her. I dance because I love it." His eyes lit, I caught the glow. That night he'd asked two things: keep dancing? Be his boss lady? If the first was good news, only the second could be bad. I scowled my face, looked down. "The bad news is..." He froze, thumb rubbing his finger the way he did when nervous at college, the night he confessed. "Funny and heartbreaking. This bad news is for you." His voice was sand. "I know, because River's carefully built hotpot empire is about to gain a lazy, do-nothing boss lady." I pulled his stubborn head to my chest, stroking rough hair that pricked my palm, couldn't stop. My eyes stung. "Fool, someone's here to split your money, bad news, huh?" Muffled against me, "Not bad, honor, the best news ever." Later, heading for the dishes, he always blocks me. I threaten to get mad, he gives in. He laughed softly. "Fine, dishwasher arrives tomorrow." I hid in the kitchen, eyes curved in a small smile as I washed the dishes. Home, yes, it really was home. When I finished, I spotted River on the balcony, sneaking a cigarette. I walked over, pretended I was about to take a drag from the one pinched between his fingers. His free hand yanked me straight into his chest. Baffled, I looked up just in time to see him crush the cigarette out. "Be good." I was wrong, I'll never light up again. I zoned out for a second. The Serena I've dreamed about for 2 whole years is finally back. I pressed my lips together, rose on my toes, and brushed a kiss to the corner of his mouth. Smoking's bad for you. I want to grow old with you. Anne. I'm sorry. The moment I opened my eyes, his were blazing disapproval. He ruffled my hair, gaze soft and lingering. Never apologize to me. All I ever want is for you to be happy, Serena. 17. The hired manager's family had an emergency, so River was filling in for the day. Most students can only take dance classes after school or on weekends. With nothing else to do, I kept drifting over to help him. They'd already taken on several servers, but when the dinner rush really roared, they were still short a pair of hands. I'd just busted a table for some newcomers and was heading back to the counter when I heard, "Server, excuse me." I turned. A college girl gave an apologetic grin. "Sorry, sis, I mistook you for a server again, honest." Why did she say again? Noting my confusion, she laughed. "A few months ago my friends and I came to eat. I was the one who first thought you were staff, then decided you must be the boss lady. You stood out, so I totally remember you." I understood and laughed too. "No need to apologize, this time you're not wrong." Before I could finish, River came out of the kitchen carrying ingredients and finished the sentence for me. "Actually, she's still wrong. Not a server, she's the boss lady." Half the dining room turned our way, my heart pounded and my cheeks burned. Holy crap, my real-life ship just docked. Boss lady, 999999999. River arched a smug brow. "Jordan, your table gets half off tonight." Other diners caught on, cheers and congratulations erupted until it felt like a wedding reception. Eyes sparkling, River pulled my flaming red self against him. "Tonight, the whole room gets 50% off, Ellis." Then, arm around my waist, he swept me into the kitchen. 18. The servers were all out front. For the moment we were alone. Mortified, I bonked my forehead against his chest, too hard. His pecs won and left me red-browed. He chuckled low and massaged the spot gently. "I told you, no clearing tables. If you insist on helping, just handle the cash. It's only a little wiping, not heavy labor." His warm, dry hand closed over mine. He bent to my ear, breath cool and tingling. "Still can't have my boss lady doing grunt work." My face heated and I twisted away. "Cut it out, save it for home." His grin tilted, pure rogue charm. "I wasn't thinking anything, but you just put it on the table." I nipped my lip, annoyed I'd fallen for it again. Then inspiration struck, fight fire with fire. I rose on tiptoe, caught the tip of his ear between my teeth, and drawled, "Sure, I'll be waiting." His ear went scarlet, neck to hairline, went crimson and bolted. A classic case of hurt the enemy 800, self-damage 1000. Bonus. 01. Our first Valentine's after getting back together. I'd never danced for him and him alone, so I choreographed a private piece as his gift. When the last beat faded I was sheened in sweat, eyes bright on the man I loved. River hauled me in and kissed me senseless until pale skin blushed rose. Voice muffled against my neck, "Gorgeous wife, but you're way too thin." Flustered, I twined my arms around him and muttered, "Now that I have you cooking I'll plump up, I've already gained a couple pounds." Dizzy from his kisses, I heard myself coo, "Hubby." His gaze snapped to predator, equal parts fierce and starving. My brain screamed, "I'm in trouble." 02. Married life. Genuine boss lady, I sat behind the register of the newest branch. A customer strolled and lit cigarette first. River blocked him before he crossed the threshold. Long fingers lifted the "No smoking" sign from the counter, voice calm and polite. "Sir, we're non-smoking here." The guy sneered, "It's a damn restaurant, not an ICU, spare me the rules." He took an angry drag, about to blow a fat smoke ring. Frown deepening, I started to edge away. River rammed the sign straight into the man's mouth, wedging the lit cigarette back inside and forcing the guy to swallow his own smoke. In the same breath he spun the man around and locked his arm up his back. River's tone went arctic. "Another stunt and I call the cops, get lost." Seeing he'd messed with the wrong owner, the man slunk out. 03. I gave birth to a tiny princess. When I woke, River was crying again, still pretending he wasn't. I stared at the baby. On her tiny foot was a perfect pink heart-shaped birthmark. I couldn't look away. The night before delivery I dreamed of a little girl, tear-streaked yet smiling so sweetly my heart cramped. I knelt. What's wrong? She wrinkled her nose. Lots of kids wanted to be your baby. I shoved and got knocked down and stepped on, super hard. Then her eyes curved like crescent moons. But I won, I became mommy's baby. Looking at her dirty little feet, I teared up. Why fight so hard to be my baby? Because mommy had it tough. I want to love you extra, I told River. His eyes went soft and complicated. We agreed her nickname would be Sophie, Little Love. After that, River spoiled her shamelessly. Softly call Little Love and she chirped back, all gums and joy. She was an angel, ate on schedule, slept the moment her tummy was full and she was cuddled. Everyone said she'd come to pay back kindness. My heart melted every single time. She and her daddy are healing the gray life I once lived. The end. Thanks for listening. If you liked the story, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.